Alright, welcome back to math. Today we're going to start with a problem string, so grab that journal, and then we're going to go back and check out that chart and see how you did yesterday. So we're going to do some adding and subtracting with decimals. Let's start with this one. 6 and 5/10 plus 38 hundredths. Use whatever strategy is most efficient for you. Pause here and do it. All right. For me, the most efficient strategy is going to be the algorithm because that's a lot of bits and pieces to keep track of. So 6 and 5/10. I need to keep the decimal lined up. 33, 8. Now, I notice I have some weird blank spots, but I know that those weird blank spots are just invisible zeros. So either you can leave it blank, or you can put a dotted 0, or you could put a real 0. Whatever works best for your brain is fantastic. So 8 plus nothing, nothing plus 8 is 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. 6 plus nothing is 6. Don't need to worry about where the decimal goes because I have it lined up so I can bring it straight down. 6 and 88 hundredths. Okay, how about 61 hundredths minus 34 hundredths. Pause and solve that one. All right, let's see how you did. For me, same thing. I'm going to have to just use the algorithm. It just works the most efficient for me. If that's not your most efficient strategy and you did something different, as long as you get the same correct answer, that's fantastic. Nice job using your self smarts. So 61 hundredths minus 34 hundredths. So I have 1, they want 4. Can't do that. So I'm going to need to go over here and borrow. That becomes 5. Now I have 11 minus 4. That I can do. Which is 7. And 5 minus 3 for 2. So 27 hundredths. That 0 can be there or not. Both are the correct answer. All right, how about 54 hundredths plus 2.7. 2 and 7/10. Give that one a shot. All right, it's a lot to keep track of. So 2 and 7/10 plus 54 hundredths. Same thing. Either you have an invisible 0 sitting there, you have a real 0 there, or you left it blank. Whatever works best for your brain. So 0 plus 4 is 4. 7 plus 5. Carry that 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 and 24 hundredths. All right, how about 2 more? 7 and 1/10 minus 44 hundredths. Give that one a shot. Hopefully you're pausing and solving these as we're going. All right, 7 and 1/10 minus 44 hundredths. Put some zeros in. I have nothing. They want 4. That doesn't work. Now I have 10 minus 4, which is 6. 0 minus 4 doesn't work. 10 minus 4, so another 6. And 6 minus nothing is 6. Bring that decimal down, you have 6 and 66 hundredths. Too bad you didn't see any of that. That's unfortunate. Sorry, guys. Alright, we're gonna do 2 more on top of that one because you didn't see me work that one out. Silly Mrs. Ferber needs to pay a little bit more attention. Ugh. So let's go with 57 thousandths minus 30 thousandths. That's a lot of numbers to keep track of. I'm definitely going to write that out with the algorithm. Math is not that hard, but that's a lot of numbers to try and keep straight in my brain. And a lot of zeros. 7 minus nothing is 7. 5 minus 3 is 2. 0 minus 0. 0 minus 0. 27 thousandths. And last one, I'll scoot that up to make sure you guys can see. 70 minus 43 hundredths. Pause and solve. All right. Remember, just because you don't see a decimal and zeros doesn't mean they're not there. It just means they're not written. So make sure you're still lining up those decimals, getting that 43 in the right spot. 0 minus 3 we can't do because we have nothing and they want 3. Go here, it's 0. There's nothing to borrow. Go here, it's 0. There's nothing to borrow. We have to go all the way over here to the 7. That becomes a 6. Remember, when we borrow, it always goes right next door. We can't just bring it all the way over here. Otherwise, we're going to have way too many pieces. So we're not where we need to be. So now this is a 9, and the 10 goes here. Still not where I need to be. Got to keep going. This becomes a 9. All the way over here for 10. Now I have 10 minus 3 for 7. 9 minus 4, which is 5. 9 minus nothing. 6 minus nothing. Bring my decimal down. That's already lined up. We have 69 and 57 hundredths. Nice work. We're going to come back to this chart and see how you did yesterday filling that out. So when I left yesterday, I gave you a little bit of a hint with the fifths and getting your other grid chopped up into 5 equal pieces. So if I'm looking at this, I know I can make the tenths because they're all full. I didn't have to chop any of them. So 1/5 is the same as 2 tenths. And I write that as 2 in the tenths place, right? This also says 2 tenths. I know that from tenths to hundredths, that's just 10 times bigger. So now I have 20 hundredths, right? There's that 2 tenths hiding in there. So I would write that as that, 20 hundredths. And then from the hundredths to the thousandths is just times 10. So now I have 200 of them. 200 thousandths. There's the 20 hundredths. There's the 2 tenths. And we write that decimal like that. Okay, so let's keep going. Make sure your journal is looking like mine. If you made a mistake, not a big deal. You have an eraser, so make sure to fix it. And let's keep looking. So now 2/5. So here was 1/5. Here's 2/5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths. 4 tenths. Write that as 0.4, 4 tenths. I know that from tenths to hundredths is times 10. So if there's 4 tenths, there's 40 hundredths, 0.40. Remember that last number? That's how we call that. So 40 hundredths. And from hundredths to thousandths is also times 10. So 400 thousandths. I'm noticing a pattern here. So 3/5. If there's 2/10 in each fifth, right? 2, 4. This would be 6/10. But let's check just in case. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6/10. 0.6 times 10 would be 60 hundredths. And time from hundredths to thousandths is also times 10, or from tenths to thousandths would be times 100, so 600. Four-fifths, following a pattern here, 2, 4, 6. 2 more of them would be 8. You can go back and check and see if I'm right. So times 10 would be 80 hundredths. Times 100 from the tenths, or times 10 from the hundredths, would be 800 thousandths. All right, 3/4. So we knew 1/4. We know a half. So 3/4. Either I can go back to the picture where we drew it, or I can build up from what I already know. I couldn't do a fourth in tenths, which means I'm not going to be able to do 3/4 in tenths either. Can't do it. Can't do it. And I'll show you. Remember how in the 1/4 we couldn't fill it all in? When we pull in the 3 of them, there's 2, there's 3. I have that same problem. Here's a tenth, here's a tenth, here's half of a tenth. I can't do half of a tenth. That's not going to work. So I can't do that, but I can do hundredths. I'm thinking about that dollar. 3/4 of the dollar, 3/4 out of the 4 I need to make a whole. That would give me 75 cents. 0.75. From hundredths to thousandths is times 100, or times 10. So 750 thousandths. And I write that like this. Okay, so I gave you the challenge of the 1/8. You can either use what you already know, or you could have sketched a picture. So if I jump back to my fourths here, I have taken my 1/2 and I've cut it into 4 equal pieces. Well, I need 8 equal pieces. So how can I cut this into more pieces? Well, I'm gonna have to find a way to cut this into more pieces, right? Alright, I zoomed way in on just one of these fourths so I can show you how to cut this into more pieces. So I have to cut this little fourth into 2 equal sized pieces. Well, I know, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now I have to split this one piece into more. Okay, well, I know each one of these is going to need 2 of those blocks. And then I have to take and split this one block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I've taken this 1/4 and cut it into 2 equal pieces, but it doesn't cut very nicely, so it looks a little odd. I'll go ahead and zoom out so you can see that I've cut the other ones as well. Okay, so now as I'm looking through here, remember I have to have the whole thing in order to be able to count it on our chart. So as I'm looking at one of the eighths here, I'll color it orange. I can see that I don't have a full tenth because I've had to cut it up, so I'm not going to be able to record the tenths. I noticed that I had to cut up one of the hundredths to be able to cut this in half, so I'm not going to be able to fill in the hundredths either. I'm only going to be able to fill in the thousandths. This is where I'm going to have to do a little bit of counting. I'm going to have to zoom back in so you can see all these pieces. So remember that the thousandth is the little strip in here. So if I go, I know that there's 10 here, so in this kind of thicker lined box here, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 125. So flip back to my chart here. 125 out of the 1,000 to make the whole. Right, that is 0.125. The other thing I could have done is come over here to my 1/4 column, and I notice that 100 or 250 thousandths, and I could half that. So half of 50 is 25, half of 200 is 100. Then I'd be able to see over here, right? I can't half this, so that's out. Half of 5 gives me a decimal, so that wouldn't work either. Nice job today. If you are struggling to kind of understand this, come check in with your teachers. Otherwise, head off to your independent work. Nice job today.